You might be feeling like you just watched the trailer for an Avengers movie. Being the end of the school year, we thought this would be a fun way to introduce the strategic plan to you. Well, as you all know, we've had to make significant cuts over the last several years, and with the investment of the $14 million from the state, we do have a unique opportunity to really start to make a big difference in our educational programs here across the district. And that's why we decided to put together this very community-driven, stakeholder-driven strategic plan process. And I'd like to just share a little bit of the data that the core planning team felt was important. On this slide, you can see our PSSA results for English, language arts, and mathematics. And as you all know, we're not doing so well on the tests. We have 7 out of 20 students that are proficient on the English language arts test, and 4 out of every 20 that are proficient on mathematics. On this slide, you can see our student attendance rates, and the one thing that really stands out here is at the high school level. With the attendance rate below 90%, that means our students are absent on average 3 days every month. And this slide shows our discipline referrals for the 2016-17 school year, and this is something that the core planning team, especially our community members, felt that we needed to address. And it's nothing different than what's going on in other urban school districts across the state. But if you look at our total discipline incidents, we had about 1,500. 900 of those were Black or African American students, so we do have some disproportional discipline going on here. This slide shows our high school graduation rate, and that's something, again, that the core planning team wanted to make sure that we addressed. Overall, you can see we have about a 75% graduation rate, so that means 1 out of every 4 students is dropping out before they finish. And this slide is one that came out of our financial recovery plan. We've been working with PFM over the last couple weeks to update our financial projections, and they put together this slide that shows that over the last 5 years we've seen a pretty significant increase in our charter enrollment. Right now we're around 18%. If that trend continues, we're going to be at 29.7, almost 30% by 2023-24. So the key to really our financial stability is to really stabilize that charter enrollment, and that's something we're going to be working towards with the implementation of the strategic plan. So that data shows that we have some pretty big challenges to face. I don't think that's anything that's a surprise to anybody that's watching this video. But as the core planning team went through it, they felt that we really needed to address this and go big over the next 5 to 6 years. So they put together these 6 game-changing goals for us. And I know they seem a little bit daunting, but working together and aligning our community resources up with achieving these goals, I'm confident that we will be able to make these goals by 2023-24. So the first one is reading at grade level by grade 3. Right now we have 7 out of 20 students that are proficient on the ELA, PSSA. We want to increase that over the next 6 years to 18 out of 20, or 90% proficient. Our attendance rate, we want to meet a 95% attendance rate. That means 18 out of every 20 students, that's 90% of our students with an attendance rate of at least 95%. One other thing that the core planning team felt was very important was civic responsibility. So we are going to move towards having all our students, grades K through 12, participating in real-world community projects. And achievement in the core, again, that's one thing that is very important for us. We want to double the proficiency in reading and language arts from 7 to 14 out of every 20 students, and triple the rate in math from 4 to 12 in the next 6 years. For the proportional discipline, we're looking to have a 50% year-to-year reduction in behavior incidents among Black or African American students, and that's every year. And that does not mean we're going to turn a blind eye to discipline offenses. We're just talking about doing things a little differently, trying to find different ways to handle those issues, and also to really improve the culture and climate within the building to reduce incidents overall. And then the last one is a diploma in every hand. And I think for most people this sounds pretty daunting, but I think we can achieve this. We're not looking to graduate all our kids within 4 years. We're looking to do it within 6 years. And we're looking to implement alternate paths to graduation. So each kid will have a different way to get to the end goal. And that might be credit recovery, it might be a GED program, it might be a combination of all those things. we're going to be talking more about this in the fall, but we wanted to get you excited about the plan. We're very excited about where this is going to take us as a district over the next few years, and we're not alone.
I looked at the process as where do I fit in the process and how do I work in collaboration with everybody, and it's refreshing to know that it's not just the educators anymore, it's not just the administrators, it's a whole community process.
You brought to us, and the superintendent, all the staff that are here, all the community members. I was just looking at the mobilizing community and igniting excellence, and I think that is absolutely what we have an opportunity to do. I think we've done that at a certain level. I would agree with what Marcus said earlier, is that this can't be something we kind of think we have an option on. This is an absolute must do. And I think we're on the right path. We're making great strides because we've mobilized parts of the community that probably have never really sat this many times on the same subject, and actually are leaving with a product that we can implement. And so I value that. I think that's priceless.
Without a vision, the people perish. And for many years, Erie School District did not have a vision, but we're changing that. And the fact that we are giving ourselves a vision, we are giving the school system goals, I think our children will have goals. And this Erie School District is one of the most important institutions of this city. This is what is going to feed our businesses. This is what is going to feed our community for years to come. And so I'm excited to see a vision, and I'm excited to be a part of that vision coming to pass.
Sir.
I just want to add to what Mr. Sable said, to use your analogy. So you bring the baby home, can you do this? You don't have a choice, because the welfare of that child depends solely on you stepping up, which is why I actually like that analogy. We're in that situation right now. We don't have a choice but to make this work. These are our children we're talking about. So it's not some option. So we need to go into this with that mindset. We have to make this work. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
You know, starting out in the Erie School District as a product of the schools, and now as a parent in the school and also an employee in the school, so often I've heard along the way, you know, well, it's not my job. And it really gets to me because I work at Edison, and all 500 of those kids are my job. I'm the secretary, I sit behind a desk, but if one of them runs out the door and an administrator can't get to them, I'm there behind them. It is our job, every one of our job in this room, to raise these children, and if for whatever reason parents aren't able to do that on their own, then we need to stand behind them and help them as a community and also as their support system at school.
I just love the city, and that love was kind of dimming. It was, well, all the things that have been happening in the city, in the school, and stuff like that. It was like, I don't know if there's a light at the end of that tunnel. When I started coming to these meetings, and thank you for inviting me, I have to say the truth, it was like just another meeting. But now, after we have said and organized and come up with all these ideas, I think it's possible. Like I had mentioned here earlier this morning, this is a teamwork. If we work together, it's possible.
Okay, so I just wanted to say how inspired I am about all of us, all of you coming together and sharing your ideas and showing your love for this city, for these families, for this community, and for our children. And I think that if we can just keep this love just wrapped up around this city, that we are going to be able to do the impossible. It is possible because of all of the commitment and the heart that you're all putting into this. And I'm absolutely inspired and so proud to have been a part of this.
We need you to be excited too, because this really is the beginning of a renaissance for our schools and for our district. And each one of you is a critical part to that. The real work, the hard work, starts in August. And just like a group of superheroes, we're going to ask you to commit as a team, as a school, as a district to this plan, to change the trajectory of our schools, and more importantly, the lives of our students.
And one last thing, these past few years have been very difficult. We understand that. All the change and turmoil has made your job all that much harder. We hope you know that we really appreciate your hard work and dedication to the school district, and we want to let you know that we hope you know that we aren't the only ones. We want to send you off this summer with this last thought. Enjoy and have a great summer.
As a parent of 4 students in the district, I really just want to say thank you on behalf of a bunch of other parents to Mr. Polito, the administration, teachers, and all the admins involved in all the changes in the school district. You guys have walked through some crap, and it's been tough, and I know, and we're at the other side of that road, and we still got some ways to go, but thank you for your sincerity, how genuine you care about our students, about the families, and that this is a calling for you through the good and the bad, and you don't treat it like it's just a job. And so I thank you as a parent, and I think you all deserve a round of applause to give to each other.